Welcome back to the podcast. Today we've got Mike on. Mike is going to talk us through his journey of building an online business around, is it boxing coaching or strength and conditioning for boxing?
Boxing coaching initially, but like obviously boxing in general for myself too. So
really interesting. So obviously one of the things that people maybe have a misconception about when they start being a personal trainer is that like they have to do fat loss. They have to just do like before and after pictures. You can't do sports. It's really difficult. So I think first of all, the best place to start would be like, what got you, I know you've obviously been boxing since young, but like what got you into being a personal trainer? Like what made you go down that route?
Because I was always involved in sports. I was always involved in some form of, like from school, I was always in the athletics team. I was always playing football. Football was probably my first like love, really, to be honest. I was well on my way. I know it sounds like a Facebook meme.
I know. So your knee got hurt.
Yeah, when you yeah when it's saying like, you know, I could have been a footballer, but I was injured. But genuinely, like if you knew me from a young age, I was known as a good goalkeeper,
right?
Rather than, you know. But I was always sort of boxing at the same time as playing footy, and then when footy finished, boxing kind of took over when I was like 14, 15. And off I went. So I've always been included and always been around sports and athleticism, so to speak. And yeah, so that's kind of the job, being a PT, helping people physically, you know, taking them through like journeys of fitness and what have you. Kind of grabbed me, you know, and it suited me well. So that's how I lean towards being a PT. And
then did you start off working in the gym first then?
Yeah.
What kind of gym was it? Was it like a boxing gym or did you go to like a commercial gym?
So it was a bit of both, to be honest. No, it wasn't a commercial gym. It was a private gym. It was like an old school bodybuilders gym. But it had upstairs, it had a ring, it had bags, you know, a lot of boxing going on in there and whatever. And I was doing that alongside coaching people, taking people on the pads in a boxing gym as well. So it was like a mixture of both. We kind of blended boxing with, you know, your usual strength work and stuff like that. Yeah. So that's how it all come about. But I was known more so as a pad man.
Yeah.
Which was good, but people would pay for just pads on their own. And like the majority of female clients that I had would want the mixture of both, whereas I just get like a lot of big bodybuilders because it was a bodybuilding gym who, you know, they wanted to like loosen off, which pads did not loosen anyone off. But yeah, that's
just want it for the Instagram, don't they? Just want to get the stories.
Yeah, and it didn't do me fucking shoulders too good, like all my elbows. You know what I mean? So yeah.
At least you weren't kicking you in the legs, like.
No, that's it. I've recently just been asked to I've just recently been asked to do a kickboxing fight. You know what I mean? I don't know if I can be asked with that one, like, but.
Yeah. You'll figure it out when you get kicked in the leg for the first time and you'll be like,
yeah, fuck that.
I fucking leave that. Yeah. Leave that well alone. Why then decide to go online with it then? Like what was the motivation for that?
But when I turned professional as a boxer, I had to like put all of my eggs in the training. I had to put all of my time into myself, training 2-3 times a day and holding pads for these, you know, monsters, and even just being on the gym floor, trying to hold a decent conversation with someone when I was that drained and that tired from sparring in the morning. It was just becoming like too much. I weren't able to provide that in-person one-to-one service as effective as what I would do whilst I was training for the fight. So I decided to go all in online and to give me that little bit of freedom and that little bit of, you know, that little bit of respite, you know, to crack on and fight.
That's a big difference, that though, isn't it? Because I know like some professional boxers maybe aren't in the position that you're in and they have to still like go out and like maybe work on the tools or go and work in an office 9 to 5 and they can't, you know, you'll do the early morning session and maybe the evening session, but it's pretty rushed, isn't it? Like it's a heavy schedule. Yeah,
well, to be honest, with regards to like boxing and pay, I didn't box in the Olympics, do you know what I mean? I didn't have like I had 27 fights as an amateur, but I was never sort of on the
touted.
Yeah. So when you haven't really got that amateur background, you haven't really got that amateur, that amateur recognition, it's hard to progress quickly as a pro unless you're a gobshite and you're talking, you're talking a lot of shite on Instagram. And have you seen the way of it now on YouTube? Like these knobs who are getting these multi-million-pound fights, and I don't want to start name dropping like I'm calling people out, Tommy Fury, but think people like that. It's these type of individuals. You box that Jake Paul and whatever, and you're just like, fuck me. That is the state that boxing's in at the moment.
Going off topic though, like for someone like Tommy Fury,
it's
a fucking brilliant idea, to be honest with you, because
100%.
Again, I'm not a boxer. I'm not a fighter by any stretch of the imagination. I have followed boxing since I was 6 years old. My old man used to wake me up like, the silly o'clock in the morning fights at American. So I saw the Holyfield Tyson fight where he bit his ear off. I watched that. Like, I think I was like 5 or something like that. So I followed boxing for a long time. So maybe educated, but not experienced. I think it's a fucking great move for him, realistically, because when he fights like maybe British level, even maybe at British level though, realistically, I mean, look at his weight class at British level, it's pretty fucking stacked. Is there a lot of money in it for him, realistically, compared to your Jake Pauls, like that kind of scene? I personally, again, maybe you'll prove me wrong, I don't think he's going to be a world level fighter. I really don't. So looking at it from his point of view, he's like, he doesn't really need the money either, realistically, does he? But if you're looking about it from a career longevity standpoint, first time he gets absolutely stamped out by like a good British level fighter, that game's over, in my opinion. Like, he stops being spoken about, it stops being a thing. If he goes down this route, like, well,
that's it.
Surely if you're his dad, for example, you're sat there, like, and his dad keeps calling out YouTubers, he's not calling out like, other cruiserweights and things like that. So for me, like, surely that's the best thing for his career.
Absolutely, because at the end of the day...
You're just sick because you can't do influencer boxing because no one knows who the fuck you are.
Exactly. Yeah, I'm just jealous. I'm not going to fucking lie, like, do you know what I mean? But, boxing in itself it's a business.
Yeah, no, for sure. Yeah.
As an amateur, I think it's more of a sport as an amateur, but it's a bit mad at the moment. Boxing's up in here at the moment.
Wasn't there an interview with Tony Bellew where he basically said, like, until I was like fighting at world level and I was a world champion, basically I just had no money in my bank. Like, I was making money, but then I was paying out for my camp and paying out for management and all this stuff. And realistically left, I was earning an average wage of like 30 to 50 grand a year, right, as a world champion. Until he started like the David Haye fight and stuff like that.
Well, I'm sure he became his own manager. I know he's a manager now, but until he got his own bit of pull in boxing, that was when he started like getting a little bit more. But like going back to the payment side of things and sort of relating that to the fitness industry and stuff like that, you're getting paid per fight, and if you get injured, you're not getting paid. You know what I mean? If I don't work on the gym floor, if I'm not taking pads and whatever, I'm not getting paid from that either. So I was relying on one thing or the other. Whereas now that it's kind of it's online, you're getting that residual. Is that the word? Residual income.
Sort of, yeah. You're right not using the word passive because you actually have to work for it.
Yeah.
People say like, it's passive income. I'm like, well, it's not, because if you don't do the job, no one's paying you. But no, I know what you mean. It's a more scalable income and it's like recurring, isn't it? Like, it just
definitely
comes in every month.
And if I got injured, God forbid, I don't like, but at least I still have my laptop. At least I still have my phone. Do you know what I mean? I'll still be able to contact and nurture that relationship with clients and still get them results no matter what. So I think it's been fucking ideal for me as running along boxing.
How do you manage it then with like your training and stuff like that? Like, talk us through like what a typical day looks like.
Well,
because this proper interests me, by the way. Like, I love it. So.
Yeah. So when I had a fight coming up, I haven't boxed competitively over the last year for reasons. I've had again, going back to the fucking injury. I've had ligament damage in my left wrist, and then we had some shit happen in the family and whatever. So I've just kind of put all my eggs into into growing the business.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
when I had a fight coming up, it would look like up early steps, like, so it's like 6 o'clock, and then with me breakfast, it'll be like checking, talking to clients, doing check-ins, doing, whichever. Then be gym 9 o'clock till 12, and then you get back. I'll have like a little hour off for me dinner, a couple of hours back on the laptop, and then you'll be doing your strength, or you're back in the gym later on. So it'd just be like your whole day would be consistent of bit of this, bit of that, in terms of boxing, like training, and clients. You know what I mean? It was split between two, which didn't leave too much room for fuck all else, to be fair with you.
Yeah.
Which could have potentially been a little bit of a hindrance personally, in personal life and stuff like that.
Make your choices though, realistically, don't you? Like, pursuing a full-time sporting career and literally training like a full-time athlete, and being able to still run a business and make sense. It's about building it around the lifestyle that you want to build it around, really, isn't it? So like, if you wanted to like be out all the time, you could do that, but one of them would have to suffer, I would assume.
Absolutely. And when I was over there listening to you had on the couch just before me, that is, I'd work and work and work to get to that point, so that it gives me the freedom to not be concerned about, not be too concerned about what's coming in at the end of the month, and still being able to just go to the gym and enjoy boxing. That's the fucking main reason why I do it, is because I love being in the mix. I love fighting. I love boxing. I love that, I love being in it myself. But in terms of business and payments, that if you're in boxing to, try for that payday, that's all you've got on your brain, it's the wrong sport.
Yeah, for sure.
It's the wrong sport. So I wanna get to my business to the point where I can then go and enjoy what it is I want to do.
How do you find like building the business around boxing as well? Do you think that's helpful to kind of keep it all in something that you care about? Do you think it would be different if maybe you were doing the online coaching and making some money, but actually really just fucking didn't really like it?
Do you mean in terms?
Do you feel like there's a benefit from building the online business around boxing as well, like something that you're passionate about, compared to just being a standard online coach that does like fat loss clients?
Yeah, absolutely. Because I think you can take a lot of the core values from boxing and spread that into your business, which is, for me, that's how I go about my business. I'll tell every person who I get on a call, or every single one of my clients, know that I will run my coaching through a set of core values, and that them 3 core values are to become robust, to become assertive, and to become disciplined, which I think is the fucking exact same in boxing. For sure. You know what I mean? So I think when people hear them words, coupled with the fact that he's boxed a couple of times, he might know a little bit about it.
But it gives you that credibility that you're actually doing it as well, right? So like, if they come to you for boxing coaching, it's very rare that you could work with like an active professional boxer. I know you've not boxed over last year, right? But you're still an active professional boxer. Doesn't really happen. Do you know Scott Quigg was like working as a personal trainer in a gym near me like a few months ago?
Yeah.
That boggled my fucking mind.
Yeah.
I'm like, literally someone was like, I've got a personal, like a pad work. And I was like, oh really? Is that near us? Well, that's quite interesting. I'll check out because I just, for a bit of fitness, like, and then I saw it was Scott Quigg and I was like, fuck off, Scott Quigg's doing pad work in a gym in Knutsford.
Do you know what?
Madness though.
It's like,
guy's a fucking world champ. I remember watching him on TV.
Yeah, that's it. That is like standard boxer life. Sometimes, fight and pad people, fight and do privates, fight and do privates. Our gym, one of my good mates, he's got Titanium in Netherley. The fucking maddest gym you will ever step foot in your life, but they're all nails, they're all boss lads, but they're all round the bend, and they just fight and pad people. You know what I mean? The top lads in there fight, pad people, and that's their way of life. Now, I think the way I've done it differently is I've put a little bit more into the business side of things to make a business out of the coaching and make a business out of the PT side of things, as well as that, which some people a lot of fighters don't really see that door opening, you know what I mean? Because all their vision is just on the fighting. Whereas I'm a little bit sort of understanding that if you're relying on fighting to pay the bills, you're in the wrong sport, you know what I mean? Because anything can fucking happen. And it's not really the secure. Like if I grow the business now to where I want it to get to, it's going to save me forever.
Well, I'm assuming it takes some pressure off your fighting career as well, right? Because maybe, you get to choose the right fights, you get to choose the right pace, and you're not rushing back in, you're not taking steps that maybe, you wouldn't do if it wasn't for the money. Like you're not jumping into maybe bigger fights or like, short notice, like maybe different weight classes just to kind of pay the bills. You're able to pick it the way that you want because the finance is actually already sorted somewhere else.
Yes, 100%. And yeah, I think everything in terms of, you find that in boxing, you find that in combat sports, that there is a lot of, there's a lot of education missing with regards to business being one of them. Yeah. But even in depth, even inside, like the things that I coach to my clients, you think a professional athlete would know this, about stuff about nutrition and stuff about, strength. And I know loads of fighters who do like the fucking keto diet, and I know loads of like fighters who are, just fasting all the time. You're like, fucking hell, mate, do you know what I mean? You don't really necessarily.
Some of them are just naturally good. I don't want to name drop, so I'm not going to, but like I've worked with a few professional MMA fighters, like when I was doing my internship when I came out of uni, like as in like UFC style level. And they're just genetic freaks. Yeah. Like some of the stuff they do, they're like, you'd make up and they just laugh at you while they were doing it. Like one of them, like cardio was so ridiculous that you'd literally make up circuits to try and make them sick. And they just joke at you. They'd be like, I get a better workout at the kickboxing gym, lads. Like, can we step this up a little bit? And you'd be like, how the fuck do you do that? Like, because we've had like guys from Harlequins like rolling on the floor, like being sick at this kind of stuff. And it's just fucking bonkers. So then maybe sometimes they skip over it because some of them don't need it. There's not that level of education there. Or like, you'll have probably heard this from when like you said you were going to be a boxing coach. Some people think, wow, there's not really any money in helping boxers out because obviously they don't make that much money. So what are we going to do? Maybe it's something along those lines. Yeah,
without question. And I just feel as though, it saved me. I always I'm quite a grateful individual anyway, but I feel as though it's definitely saved me into like being a boxer and being around boxing and being around the sport. It's definitely saved me business wise, without question. I feel as though the relationship that I've built with my clients, they kind of see that, right? Okay, he's been there. He's gotten himself into incredible shape. He's gotten himself into fighting condition, and I've also been like just normal. Yeah. So I feel as though it's defo saved business wise.
What tips would you give then for potential, like, I reckon there's a lot of people, right, that look at coaching and are athletes, maybe not just in boxing, but like things like CrossFit and footballers and stuff like. What advice would you give them about growing their business around their sport? Sorry, I put that on you there, but
no, there's plenty of ways to answer the question, to be honest, but I'd say mainly you put your own kind of spin on it, put your own sort of, like the way I've gone about it with the core values. I've taken, I don't coach people online on how to box. Don't get me wrong. If they say to me, look, Mike, I want to learn how to do X, Y, and Z, I'll assess send me a video and I'll do a check, whatever. But what I've taken from boxing is the core values, the things that you need in boxing. And I've put that onto my online coaching. I put that into my deliverance of coaching. And I feel as though that's been the good crossover in building it around the sport. So to put it in a CrossFit terms, what core values would a CrossFitter use, and taking that from CrossFit and putting that into their own individual clients. And, if I get a 55-year-old woman who's never been to the gym in her life before, I'm not going to say, right, look, we're going to be doing 12 rounds in a couple of weeks' time.
Hit the tarmac, 10 miles.
Yeah, get on the road at 5 a.m. It's not going to be the case, but we'll say, look, as a boxer, I had to rely on discipline for X, Y, and Z, or I had to, develop in. I had to become a robust individual in order to get this. And if you can take an ounce of that discipline, or if you can take an ounce of that, becoming robust, you guarantee you're going to get your result, and move it down that way. So kind of relating and like, oh yeah, fucking hell,
That's really useful. Thank you very much, mate. Where can people find you if they want to find out a bit more about your business?
At Mike Action Online Coaching.
Mike Action Online Coaching.
Yeah.
Thank you very much, mate.
Most welcome.